governorate d'El-Behirah.
الحقيقة يمكن النهارده زي ما حضراتكم تابعتوا معانا يعني السيد محافظ البحيرة استعرض كل المشروعات القومية الكبرى اللي بتتنفذ في محافظة البحيرة، وبحجم العمل اللي بيتعمل في المحافظة دي هو نموذج للي بيتعمل في 27 محافظة. مفيش محافظة النهاردة في مصر ما فيهاش مشروعات قومية تنموية هدفها في الأساس هو رفع مستوى المعيشة لكل أهالينا في كل ربوع مصر. السيد المحافظ عرض ان على مدار الاربع سنوات الماضية بيتنفذ اكتر من 4320 مشروع بتكلفة 80 مليار جنيه. دي المشروعات القومية اللي بتتنفذ في كل
$80 billion. These are all the projects implemented in Behirah governorate. Up till now, 60% of them were implemented for 40 million Egyptian pounds. And in parallel to that, we started the initiative of Decent Life launched by President Sisi, the President of the Republic. And I'm extending thanks and appreciation to our armed forces represented in the North Military Unit, implementing all the projects for Decent Life initiative. In Decent Life initiative now, to know what is done, we include 5 centers in the governorate, 42 local units in more than 3,900 villages and satellites. The number of projects, 8,860 projects with a total cost of 44 billion Egyptian pounds, in addition to the other national projects. When we gather both together, then the share of the Behirah governorate of development project is 124 billion Egyptian pounds. I would like to put these figures before you so that you would know the state over the past 4 or 5 years, and in particular over the past 8 years. We reached in one governorate 124 billion Egyptian pounds, and in all Egyptian governorates we'll find similar figures. There is no sector that is not witnessing development, and we as a government, you have seen with us over the past few days announcing the exceptional social package that the President Sisi gave directives to launch to face the international crisis we are facing, and the state announced it for all the projects implemented, and its implementation will start by the end of this month, the month of August. I would like to say that for social protection and community development, Decent Life initiative is a culmination of all the targets of social protection. When we go to the Egyptian rural areas that has 60% of the population of Egypt, and we develop it further with wastewater, electricity, communication units, schools, hospitals, youth centers, all the services that the villages needed for long decades and were absent are there today and are being implemented on the ground. And as you can see now, we wrapped up this tour by visiting the school, and here there is a medical convoy implemented through Tanta University. Senior professors, physicians and doctors are here in this medical convoy to provide all the health services to our people in the village. And this example of convoys is there in every village in Egypt. And I consider this to be a package of social protection that the state of Egypt has been implementing for a long period. We have been doing this for a long period. You know that in the past or 5 years or 6 years, a lot of work was done in this context. That's why once more I would like to thank all those who worked on the implementation of this mega project. And I think that thanks to God, if it was not for these projects, then things on the ground would have been worse. We still have a long way to go, and we we need to work more, we'll exert more effort, yet we are reassured that we are on the right path. The social protection projects and community development projects you are witnessing is a top priority for the Egyptian government, whatever the challenges are, and we will continue their implementation in the coming phase. Thank you all and many happy returns. Good afternoon. Extra news. My question, in light of the world economic crises, of course, there would be a kind of economic recession, but things here in Egypt are totally different. We are continuing our path. What is the message you would like to deliver to the Egyptians regarding this major social project? As I said, we as a government announced that this year we are very cautious about this crisis, and we are taking also a lot of measures, and we have a big reserve this year in the budget for the emergencies that might happen, because we do not know what would be the prices of commodities and the prices of fuel. Despite all that, the priority projects on top of which is decent life will not be negatively impacted, because we, the state of Egypt, believe that this project achieves a lot of targets that we cannot give up on. But honestly, what's happening is out of our hands. It's simply speaking that due to the crisis related to the importation of raw materials used in the production of all products, these are things that we import, as well as some machineries and equipment. Now there is delay in supplying these supplies and raw materials. That's why, unfortunately, we as executive authorities, although the funding is there, we are restructuring the projects. We wish that the first phase will be finished by the 30th of June, but due to the conditions all over the world, we have amended our programs so that they would finish by the end of the year 2022. I would like to emphasize the volume of efforts exerted by the contracting companies. And you need to be aware that in the presentation, all those people who worked in the projects we visited are from people from Wadi Natron. So one of the objectives of Decent Life Initiative is to create job opportunities for youth who did not find these job opportunities before at the local level and the village level, and now they find a decent job opportunity that enables him to start his family, and this is one of the main objectives of Decent Life. هاني النحاس صدى البلد channel. We have been on this tour in Gharbia and today in Behirah for Decent Life project, and I think all the citizens recognize the efforts exerted by the government. By the international crisis, the Egyptians want to be reassured about the social protection programs. Do you have a different vision in the future for social protection? Are you going to implement new social protection programs? Let me tell you that when we announced the packages a few days ago, according to the directives of the president, we have put permanent things in it. When we increased the number of families benefiting from Takaful and Karama pension that ranges between 900,000 to 1 million families, this would be a permanent pension, and the target of that is to reach more than 5 million Egyptian families, and this means 20% of the Egyptians would receive this direct financial aid, and this would be permanent, and we change, of course, according to the standards of this program. Every 3 years we do a review. If we find that the families have a source of income, we get them out of the program and introduce new families into this program as a substitute. For the other programs, like the ones we announced increasing 100 Egyptian pounds on the ration cards, this has to do with the exceptional conditions we are facing now. And we know that there is inflation and increase in prices. So we have these exceptional interventions, and we have put it for 6 months, and it is related to the end of these international conditions. Of course, we will assess things before the end of this period and see and decide according to the directives of the President whether we have a need to get out with a number of steps or not. But throughout the day, we follow up things on the ground. And as I told you, the most important thing is that with the increase in any services or commodities, the state incurs the larger part, and we realize the living conditions facing the Egyptian citizen. The last question. Your Excellency, the Prime Minister, this project might be an opportunity to build our manufacturing capacities and to domesticate technology. Do you have a government plan in this context? Emphasizing what you said, we have a lot of equipments and raw materials that are manufactured locally, and this is very important. All what you saw today is manufactured here in Egypt. I'm talking about construction raw materials, furnishing, but we still have challenges regarding some equipments that we as Egypt have a plan implemented on the ground now to domesticate it, like the pumps for the water and pumping stations. 75% of all the electricity projects are locally produced. We've reached a self-sufficiency level in electricity that is above 75%. So all these projects help us and encourage domesticating this industry. Of course, the biggest challenge is that we are working in an exceptional condition that did not happen over the past 100 years. So if we were in normal conditions, the achievement could have been much bigger. But due to these conditions, we are not achieving 100% of the targets of domesticating industry, but at least we are achieving high levels in this context. Thank you, and many happy returns, and we wish that in the next tours and visits, we will go to governorates in Upper Egypt. Thank you.
كل سحابة شايفين وراها شمس، النهاية شايفين وراها حياة، الحاجز شايفين وراه طريق، وورا كل باب مقفول